Hey, first of all, I just want to be really honest. I don't want to introduce myself because it's so uncomfortable trying to explain who the heck I am and what the heck I want to talk about within like these couple few moments of you trying to like figure out if this video is worth watching enough. Basically, I'm just a regular person who wants to talk about whatever interests her, and that just so happens to be Olivia Rodrigo's Driving Home to You film based off her album Sour, and I wanted to talk about it simply because it was a good album and it made me feel a lot of things. The album makes me a teenager, and I really liked it, so that's what this video is going to be. I don't want to introduce myself and be like, hi, my name is Ruth and I'm on a mission to make YouTube more casual, because I sound like I'm trying to like pitch to you, but I'm really just trying to, I want this to be just like a regular talking thing. Like, we're in my car because driving home to you, duh. But we're in the car because, yeah, I mean, like I said, like it matches up with Olivia's theme of driving, but also because it's a nice little casual thing. Like, I love sitting in the car and talking with people, so I want to sit in the car and document all and talk to the camera. So I'd like to sit in the car and just talk about the album, which was the album plus the film. The film, I feel like I don't want to talk too much about it in the way that I'm going to dissect it. I feel like there are several videos already for people to watch and to get like a proper film dissection from like people who are very interested in dissecting film, but I'm more so just a girl talking about a movie that she liked in a very casual manner. Because I want to document this. It was a beautiful film, beautiful words, beautiful people, beautiful message. We love the beauty. Anyways. So, woo! I don't think that I was going to listen to Sour because I didn't like Driver's License that much. I think a lot of people were overhyping it. It's a good song, but it just didn't hit me the way that I wanted it to. And also, I'm 22. I think when it came out was like 2020, last year. I was like 21 or 20, I don't know. When it came out, I was like, this is like a little bit, I'm not in this phase, but I think I heard Good For You. And I was like, oh, she's really good. And I was initially and immediately hooked. Because Good For You, I'm just going to talk about that later. Basically, I found Olivia Rodrigo because I was listening to Good For You, and I loved it so much. I just feel like it channels the deepest like amount of like petty and like revenge that is inside any young woman's body. Because it's like we have all had those moments where we've been like, good for you after you left me broken. Good for you for making things look so easy after we're both going through this horrible like breakup or separation or whatever the heck. Good for you. And I'm so happy that she put that into words so beautifully. So when I heard Good For You, I was like, oh, this is really good. Like, this is getting the recognition that I feel like Driver's License got. And it's so much better than Driver's License, in my opinion, as a 20-year-old, as a person in my 20s who can't fully relate to Driver's License, but would have loved to hear it in high school. So I don't know what kind of expectations I had for Sour, but I was kind of like, I'll just give it a listen, I guess, because Good For You was really good for me, I guess. So as I was listening to, oh my god, I think right as it came out, because I think also Deja Vu was on the radio around the time when Good For You came out, because I think it was like Driver's License, Good For You, Deja Vu. Wow, she really did her thing with that one. That really rose off the tongue really easily. But I think it was like those singles that came out, and they were all very like beautiful, melodic. Also, I don't know a single thing about music for real. I don't know how to speak in the term in like a critical musical In critical musical terms, I don't, obviously. But I want to talk about this album and the feelings that it elicited from me because it's just beautiful. Anyways, Good For You, Deja Vu, Driver's License came out. After that, the album came out and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit somewhere and just like inhale this. So I sat, I don't know where it doesn't matter, but I sat down and the track list goes, it starts off at Brutal, and it was like, oh my gosh, Olivia. So I am having trouble thinking of exactly what it is about the film that strikes me so beautifully the minute that it starts and we see the opening scenes. But there is something about what is that called? What's the word when a film looks beautiful? The film's aesthetic. There's something about the cinematography. I don't know anything about film or music. This is going to be really hard for me, but it's going to be fine. The cinematography of the film. Wow. This is going to sound really stupid coming from my mouth because like I said, I don't know film or music, so I can't give out very good descriptors. But I feel like right now in media we are very what's the word? Enamored by like 90s-esque type films and 90s-esque type photos and 90s-esque aesthetics. So the film had just these like very lovely, beautiful film-y type scenes, and the performances were like simple and beautiful but also like had a lot of effort put into them. Olivia is a Disney employee through and through, and we saw it here. I only realized that like after the film. I was thinking about like how in the world did she get such a good deal with Disney Plus. I was like, why is it that Disney Plus even wanted to take shape with this? Like what? But then I realized like she's in High School Musical, the whatever the heck that is. I never watched it. I'm not like I wasn't an Olivia Rodrigo fan before. And I didn't know anything about her besides maybe like her breakup because people were talking about it related to the album, but I didn't know anything about her before. So then it just like hit me in the face as I was thinking about it. I was like, oh right, no, yeah, she does fully work for Disney and she's fully a child star. Duh. Like, I just really commend. I feel like so stupid for saying things like commend to people who don't need my commendations. To people who don't need me to commend them. Like, Disney does not need me to be like, I commend you so much for doing this amazing film. Like, yeah, I commend them because it was just the colors, the scenes, beautiful. Wow. So as we're starting the film, the first song that is played is Happier, and I love Happier so much. It's just a song that you turn on and you play because you want to feel like a sort of connection with somebody, and I feel like Happier encapsulates the whole I'm feeling sorry for myself and I want somebody to speak on it, and she does so well. The idea of please go on and like have a beautiful life and be happy and don't be as depressed as I am, but also don't be happier than I am because you don't deserve it. I think is just such a beautiful concept to even think about. It's not beautiful because it's kind of sad because it's a little bit out of misery, but it's the most relatable misery of somebody being like, listen, I want you to be okay, but definitely don't be better than I am. And just to say that beautifully as if it's like sculpted within a pretty love letter. What does that even mean? I don't know. So after Happier, which was beautiful performance, we meet Dan, who is the producer of this whole entire album, Dan Nigro. That honestly, meeting him was a little bit comforting. Wow. honestly, meeting him was a little bit comforting because beforehand I kind of was like, who the heck is this Dan guy? Like, I watched her interview on the, what's it called, Zach Sang show, and she kept talking about this guy Dan, and I was like, weird, like, because I feel like when we hear about young people talking about the music industry, it just seems so sketchy and so weird. So the idea sorry, hold on, I'm really cold. So the idea of her collaborating with a man, this guy Dan, and it was only the two of them, just felt weird. But seeing Dan and seeing their collaboration process and seeing that he was just somebody that she really trusted, and somebody who she could like open up to and just be a sounding board and be helpful and like have a lot of amazing ideas was really cool. So I loved their dynamic. I still am unsure about like their, not relationship, but their, because they said that they met on Instagram, but it's like, okay, but how do you go from meeting on Instagram to producing a whole entire heartfelt album and being able to like cry in each other's arms? I don't know. I just am always so wary of like younger women and older men, not in a romantic way, but in like an exploitative way. I think that this album proved that there was nothing exploitative about it at all. But just hearing about Dan and seeing him now put me at ease. Not that I even needed to be at ease. Not that anybody actually cares about this at all. But it was cool to see the person that she was working with, that she made this beautiful album with. Something I found really interesting as she was talking, because she does give quite a bit of commentary, which is what I was initially there for. I will say that I'm somebody who's just so drawn to seeing how production of things work. I love seeing the beginning, middle, and end of any creative project, if it interests me, of course. I used to always watch the behind the scenes of, like, you know, DVDs, how DVDs would have like here's the main menu, here's this scene, this scene, this scene, and then they'd have the here's the behind the scenes, here's the credits, here's the blah 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 blah, and you'd pick whatever option. I loved watching the behind the scenes of the movies and seeing the creative process and seeing that all being carried out. Just as a creative person, it's just so inspiring to see the thought behind a process go into real life. So, as Olivia was talking about her creative process, she was also talking about the person who inspired the album, obviously, which is obviously the one guy that I don't even know his name, Joshua Bassett. It was so interesting also to listen to a celebrity talk about another celebrity as if they were just like they're just like these casual people who don't have full-on Disney careers and are mega famous, not because of their relationship, but like primarily because of the relationship drama. And for her to be speaking on what inspired the album, even though we know what inspired the album because it's like that's what Driver's License was about, it was interesting to hear her take and for her to speak like she was just this regular everyday girl, because I think she's really good at coming off relatable, even though this is somebody who like has probably been working since she was like a toddler, and somebody who's employed by Disney, and somebody who's a millionaire at this point, just speak about very regular things, because her album gives us very regular topics and illustrates them beautifully, but the way that she even just talks about this, like as if she was just opening up to like a childhood friend about this guy who broke her heart, even though she's like literally opening up to Disney, like Disney cameras, and this guy producer who she like met on Instagram, is just wild, and I really appreciated it and loved it. So she was talking about some of the songs. I can't remember what she said related to a specific song, but I can't remember what song she was trying to refer to when she said this one thing, but I wrote it down because I really liked it. She said, "Loving someone who is so inconsistent is really challenging." I think that was talking about one step forward, 3 steps back. And it is really challenging, especially as a teenager, because you have all the time in the world to just sit and talk and do nothing, which I know is different because Olivia's working, like booked and busy. But when you go through the phase of loving somebody who's so inconsistent and you are so enamored with them and they are not as enamored with you to like try to put in the effort to talk to you all the time, it really stings. So her being able to put that into words so succinctly is just magical. One of the other things that she mentions in the song dissection is that she was talking about driving home to you, the lyric, not just the film that's currently being like filmed as she was talking, but she was talking about how she wrote the lyric driving home to you in like a physical sense of like driving home to you, but then also it being like a, when you love somebody you feel at most home with them specifically. So when you are driving home to them, you are driving to them, and wherever they are is like your home. And I was like, you really are a genius, Dada. You really are a genius, for real, Olivia. Like, you really said that so beautifully. And then it just kind of like hit anybody who was watching like, oh wow, that makes sense. It wasn't just because it was like this like beautiful line on driver's license. It's because driving home to you, you lose that. You're now like not on the drive home to him. Like, you wild. Like, it was just so eloquently said, and just like it's as if she wrote a script as she was talking to the camera, just very openly and candidly, but she was just speaking. Like, so I can't remember at what point I am at in this film, but in the notes that I've written down, she then sits down with one of her friends, like in the desert or whatever, wherever the heck Disney took them, and she's talking with Jacob Collier, is that his name? I don't know anything about him. And it's so interesting to just see, again, her being like a super mega celebrity talking to this other super mega celebrity, and just them being like, I don't know if he's a teenager, but them just being like young, famous people with a lot of resources, and just sitting and having an honest conversation. Because of all the things that people want from celebrities, I think we just want to see them like interact with other people and sound normal. At least that's what I want. I want to feel like some sort of a connection or some sort of like normalcy between them, especially like artists. I love to see like, I think we all love to see interviews with our favorite artists, but it's the idea that it's like, oh my god, you're real, like you actually have these normal everyday conversations that a lot of people have. That's wild. So as she was sitting down talking to him, I was just thinking about that, like, wow. And she says something that is so simple but so profound at the same time. She said, I think the best and the worst part about being loved or loving someone is knowing that you could always lose it. And wow, that was really good, Olivia. I'm gonna keep saying these like amazing, I'm gonna give her so many accolades for saying just like simple things, because it's the way that she encapsulates large like feelings that I would have to take a whole entire paragraph to figure out to say, and just saying them so succinctly. That is impressive to me. Then at some point she goes off and starts talking about the lyric, know that I loved you so bad I let you treat me like that. When she said that during the song, when I was listening to the album, also I think I said was, but then I missed the A, was when I was listening to the album, sorry, I nearly had a heart attack. Know that I loved you so bad I let you treat me like that. Like that. I let you treat me like that. Know that I loved you so bad I let you treat me like that. That was just like, it just is wow, because it is the epitome of like, why am I such a good person if I still get this behavior, you know? So as she was talking about that, I was like, yikes. So yeah, that was related to favorite crime. And then at some point we go on to Good For You, and the Good For You performance was good enough, good enough for you, good enough for me to go back into the whole entire documentary or just type it up on YouTube. I don't know why I'm like 30,000 years old when I like refer to things that I could easily do because we live in 2022. Olivia, call me if you want these rhymes. If you want a ghostwriter. So that specific scene was so beautiful. It's Olivia singing with a choir, and the choir's playing Good For You. A choir? Am I okay? It's an orchestra. Wow. So it's an orchestra playing Good For You, and I don't know if the word is the arrangement, but if it is, I'm impressed with myself. The arrangement has changed completely because Good For You is like super rock heavy and has super like Paramore vibes, but it being like toned down and soft was just, it elicited a sort of emotion out of me that was kind of like, ooh, this is just a beautiful moment that we all need to just take in. Disney did their thing. They knew the assignment. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's all I have to say about that. Next, Trader's performance. What the heck? So incredibly just like, even though it was semi-simple, it was just her at a gas station, it kind of just like shook my soul a little bit because it's like, it would be at a gas station. This is meant for a gas station. Gas station vibes completely. And it was just her on instruments herself. I didn't even know that she could play all of those. Like, what more can she do? She can act, she can sing, she can play piano, guitar. What else? I'm not gonna look it up, but I just am so impressed at the fact that she can write really well as play instruments. I feel like in order to be as good as she is, I would expect her almost to just know how to write and sing. But the fact that she can write, sing, and then play these instruments is just like, how? Like, how are you able, girl? And it just made me realize, like, even though production is so high and this is so beautiful, I would watch this if she was sitting in her basement. If she was simply just sitting in her basement talking to a camera that's not even that good. If she was just on her iPhone in her basement talking about every single song and the production of it and showing some clips, I would still be like, girl, you are a genius for real. Like, you have so much brilliance inside of you. As they're playing around, they go back to the studio. Not they go back to the studio after the performance, but at some point they go back to the studio and Dan is playing around and he like stumbles across the first like notes of Brutal, which is the I wish I was like a melodic queen. I wish I could like actually play what the heck they were doing. But it was the my notes. It was the chords, and it was so cool because you could see Olivia being like, dude, that's really good. Like, we should use that in a song. And then all of a sudden the song is like crazy and it's like the best song ever based off the like, how does somebody just like think of that and then just make a whole, I just blown away. I loved that they shared that. I was so impressed, and just as a creative myself, I think it's really cool to see the creative process from the even beginning of like the strumming of the guitar chords. Like, what? Those are all the thoughts that I wrote down and wanted to share it about Driving Home to You. It was so beautiful, so inspiring, and I am not expecting much from her after this, but I know that she probably will be coming with the heat, whatever heat that is, like, be it another album, be it like another film, be whatever. I know that like celebrities make sure that their fame lasts when they're that talented, but I am just so impressed and was encapsulated by the film that was Driving Home to You, and I think I'll be watching some of the performances. Definitely Good for You over and over again, specifically from Driving Home to You.